Errol, I'm so thrilled that you're going to be with us for the conference as well. And I'm just wondering what it is that you hope that participants will get to share with you as part of the conference experience.
I think psychotherapeutic modalities, of which obviously process work is one. I felt for a while that they're primarily founded on working with individual psychology, which is obviously so important in our work. But one of the challenging parts about that way of working, it doesn't take into account how structural discrimination plays out and impacts an individual's experience. And I think there's been a gap in psychotherapeutic modalities in facilitating, framing, and therefore understanding better how structural discrimination impacts people's individual psychology. And so my session is really about helping to understand those dynamics, how it plays out. It's about understanding how systems of oppression perpetuate themselves and reinforce themselves, and some of the impacts, psychological and communal impacts of structural discrimination on groups and communities, and how to work with all that.
And it feels just profound. I mean, I've been privileged enough to have been able to engage in some of the work that you've been doing, and the way that you bring the different realities of organisational work, for instance, and personal work together. So the therapeutic practice plus the organisational or group practice. And it feels like that understanding of systems and structures and how they play out in an individual and a group's experience is just so important. It's been such a missing piece of the picture, Errol. So I just think the work you're doing is so profound and so needed, and so needed currently more than ever.
Thanks, Beck. Yeah, and I do think I feel privileged to work with organisations a lot where, as you were saying, that same kind of systems theory and thinking is really useful in how we think about systems of oppression. And I think when we don't do that, one of the impacts is the individual is left to feel like what's happening for them is totally incumbent on them. Yeah. Which has two impacts. The first impact, I feel like they have to work really hard if they aren't aware of the environment that's creating their experience. And then secondly, I think it perpetuates and reinforces this internalized narrative or internalized oppression that somehow I have a problem, I'm messed up, I'm broken, and that's damaging. So if as facilitators and therapists and coaches, we don't frame those moments, I think we're doing our clients a disservice because they're taking on too much. And how do we normalize people's reactions, contextualize people's reactions, given the structures they're operating within that are oppressive, traumatizing, are marginalizing.